All right, here we go. This is lesson number 17 out of 25 on growth mindset. Once again, we're taking the ideas of a guy named Tom Bilyeu. He's the founder of Quest Nutrition and then something called Impact Theory. And he came up with his 25 ideas. His whole story kind of goes like this, that he was working at a company, or his company, and he was hiring people for the company. And when he started to really get to know these people, he realized that they were just so limited by their thoughts, what they thought they could or couldn't accomplish in their life. He goes, man, why do people have this mindset? And so we call that a fixed mindset. And so he kind of made it his life goal to hopefully teach people about growth mindset. And there's a lot more to it than that. And so he created 25 bullet points, or things that he thinks are important to get you towards that growth mindset. So we're taking each one of those and kind of making a quick little lesson around it. So number 16, this is what we talked about last time. We said building your self-esteem around being right all the time will lead to poor decision making. So the flip side of that, so once you realize that if you focus if the only way for you to feel good about yourself is to be right, that is a horrible place to be, because you're going to probably be wrong more times than you are right in your life. It's just kind of matter of fact. I mean, I cannot tell you how many mistakes I have made in my life. And if I would have focused on always trying to be right, then I never really would have gotten anywhere. I mean, think about this. Are you more worried? Right there is good, yeah. Are you more worried about what people think about you than really what is the best decision to make? I'm not sure that ever came across your mind. Because we all have decisions to make all the time, from small things to big things, what to wear, who to hang out with, what to do with your life, or bigger things. But if you're constantly worried about what people are thinking about you, how you're going to look, or always trying to be right, you're never really going to dive deep into what's important, which is really going to figure out what you stand for, and then ultimately trying to have some sort of goals that you're working towards. And so, let me read for it. Building your self-esteem around identify the right answers and pursue it faster than anyone else. That should be the goal. Now, once again, I'm an old guy here, and I can tell you that with age, this gets a little easier. I remember sitting with lunch with my dad, and do you ever notice that sometimes old people kind of just say whatever they want to say? I'm not sure if you ever noticed that. But I remember at lunch, and my dad would make a comment like, Dad, come on, man, what are you doing? That's embarrassing. But I think the older you get, you care less and less about that, because you're not so worried what other people are thinking, because you already are pretty much in touch with, you already have a good feel of exactly who you are, and that self-esteem is already there. So for my dad, he kind of just say things once in a while. I notice the older I get, I'm not doing that yet, but my self-esteem is less tied to always trying to be right. It's more tied to trying to learn so I can get better at who I am, as well as what I put out into the world. So I can honestly tell you, one of the hardest things I've done, the biggest challenge I've done that's really tested this belief in mine, is creating this YouTube channel. People are mean. People are mean sometimes on their comments, right? And my daughter gets a kick out of it, because she kind of does my little postings and stuff for me in the morning, and she'll once in a while read the comments and she'll laugh because someone says something about me. But I can tell you, when I create a video, I have to go back and edit it. And do you know how self-conscious, if you're staring at yourself for 3-4 hours, it's kind of a hard thing to do. You start noticing all the little things, right? You start noticing, my kids always told me this, I never knew this, so I started watching my video, is my nose is crooked. I'm like, what? You guys notice that about me? Yeah, right? I never really paid attention. I always heard, my kids say stuff like that, but I never really thought about it. But I watched the video like, oh my gosh, they're right. They're right. And it's like, so how do you get past that, right? Because I could harp on that all day. And then my daughter, of course, my daughter's 9th grade. I think teenage girls are pretty honest. She's pointing out all my flaws to me. She's helping me with these videos. And then some of these comments. Oh, the worst comment was it might have been someone in this class. I don't know. The worst comment, I created a video, and the comment was a skeleton, like a skull, and then a gun pointed at the skull like, oh, this is the worst thing, I want to shoot myself like thing. So I'm not sure there's anybody here. Someone said, this was a total waste of my time watching this video. I'm like, oh, those kind of hurt, you know? So putting yourself out there, it's hard. But here's the thing. If I focus on those, then I'm never going to reach my goals that I have or what I want to do with this channel and everything else. And so the key is this. Don't base your self-esteem on trying to always be right and looking the part and what people are going to think about you. That's going to lead you down the wrong path real quick. You got to tie your identity to something more solid. And I like what Bilyeu says. He ties his identity to trying to be a learner. He calls himself a learner. If your goal is to always learn, you have no problem being wrong. Because if you're wrong, then that's when you learn the most. He has no problem saying, I don't know the answer to that. Because if you don't know the answer to that, then you can start the path of getting the answer. So he ties it around being a lifelong learner. But for you guys, tie it around whatever you want to connect it with, but do not connect it with always trying to be right and always trying to be the best image out there.